friends, and welcome to another episode of Dark Side of the Word, a weekly podcast for all the dark story lovers. I'm Kait, and I'm here with my relaxed co-host, CJ.
Ha! Relaxed. Okay. Hi, everybody.
I thought this would be fitting, which our listeners will find out in the future.
Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony. Okay, yes.
We might be testing something in the background for future episodes.
Yes, and by might we mean we are, and I'm petrified.
So keep a lookout. Hopefully, April will be the month.
A literal
we
lookout.
finally do the thing. Yeah.
Do the thing. Okay.
Well, today is the first episode of the month, which means it's time to recap everything we've been up to in the past 30 days, 31 days, 28. Wait, we came from March.
March has 31. 31
days. So hopefully we can inspire creatives out there, provide some chuckles, and show what it's like from the trenches. The trenches have been fun. Let's start with CJ. How are you doing? How you doing?
I am doing good. I am just back from a long weekend in Washington, D.C., which was very nice. There was a lot of seeing of friends, a lot of, seeing dinosaur bones and historical things.
Wait, what?
Dinosaur bones.
You didn't say dinosaur bones when you recapped it for me originally.
Well, we went to the Museum of Natural History that's in D.C., and there was the dinosaur exhibit. And there was a very small Egyptian exhibit. I expected more from that exhibit, I have to be honest. There were two mummies, which were cool to see. But overall, it was like a room and a half, a small room and a half. So really, there were so many people there. Oh my gosh, so many people. I am not used to such crowds post-COVID, and I was freaking out. But it was still a nice time to be there. We saw friends. We went to our friend's party for their daughter who just turned 1, and they had bunnies. Aww, I hugged 8 bunnies, 2 goats, and 1 baby chick. It was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. I know.
That's adorable.
It was absolutely adorable. So I am feeling good and rested. So not relaxed, but rested after my weekend.
Relaxed. Fuck relaxed. But speaking of bodies and mummies and stuff, what was it, years ago they had that whole bodies exhibit. Yeah.
Did you see it?
So I got to go in for free because it was during my time of volunteering at the Science Center. And it came to my Science Center.
Interesting. Okay. I did not know you volunteered at a Science Center.
Yes, this is back before I retired from being an engineer.
Oh.
And it came to my museum, and because I volunteered, I got to go to it for free. It was disturbing. Yeah. I'm glad I went, but it's disturbing. It's very disturbing.
Yeah. I was kind of curious, but I get really grossed out by body things, though less grossed out now than I used to be. So I could probably handle it now. I could not handle it when I was out.
And I take all this back. I'm sorry, listeners. I totally lied. Okay, so I saw the Mummies one that traveled.
That is completely different.
So
you could not get more different. Oh my God.
Hold on. So I saw the Mummies one when I was volunteering. And they had all the walks of life of mummies. It wasn't just Egyptian. It was crazy. They even had the scientific one that someone donated their body to be mummified in current day times to follow the process for scientific reasons.
Oh.
But when I was 16, my sister was in massage therapy school, and her class had to go to the bodies exhibit.
Yeah.
I did go. And so she asked if she could bring, her little sister along. So I did go to the bodies one, but it wasn't when I was volunteering.
Were you traumatized by the bodies one?
Yeah, the one that haunts me to this day is the blood vessel one. When they had all the blood vessels, everything else was removed in the body and it was just blood vessels.
Oh God. Oh yeah, I cannot see that exhibit. I made the right choice and not going to see that exhibit. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't lie. I went to both. I just got the dates wrong.
The mummies thing sounds cool. My husband will like that. He loves Egyptian things. He wanted to see the dinosaur bones too. So he would really love all the mummies stuff if that's still around somewhere traveling.
I don't know. We're talking 10 years ago.
Okay, so probably not.
But yes, so in terms of writing, I would say it's been a crazy month on my side of things. I know last month we left you a little sad.
A little
on the edge.
A little frazzled.
I think that we've gotten past that. Would you agree?
Yes, I think we would agree. In one way or the other, I got past it.
Okay, friends, I'm going to tell you the secret. She sent me more chapters. She did not keep up.
I did send you more chapters. Do you want me to talk about my writing, or do you want to talk about yours?
You go first.
I go first.
No,
okay.
You go first.
So first of all, I am reading pages from my critique group, which is going really well. And I'm still working on the Ghost Children book, as Kate mentioned. I'm trying to stick to sending out 2 new chapters for review every 2 weeks. I'm at chapters 11 and 12 now, and I'm kind of stalling working on those because I know I have to write some brand new content that I'm going to be adding into the first draft. And even though I'm excited to write it, I'm also kind of hesitant. It's just a lot of work, and as excited as I was to first write this book 2 years ago, I feel like I'm having trouble mustering the same enthusiasm for revisions. And it's just, I'll get to it, but I feel like I need some kind of more emotional breakthrough to really get excited to sit down and just hammer out pages and pages of new stuff. And I
find that there, for our listeners to like kind of have an idea, I find like there's like 2 main like stalling points in a book. There's like if you can get to like 40,000 words, so it's like the 30 to 40,000 is a huge stalling when you're first drafting a book. Mm-hmm. And I think that we've talked about that before when we were writing. It's like you hit that 40,000 mark and you're like, okay, suddenly the book, I can do it. Because I think by then the imagination idea is kind of done, the fun of it's kind of done. You're really having to get into the nitty gritty and the emotional payoffs and to see if your story actually has life. And then it would be during the first major rewrite, which is where you are. So like the beginning's done, which is probably where the best work was done because that's when the ideas were first fleshed out. Like everyone thinks of how to start a book. Actually, but it's how to pay it off is the hardest.
I would disagree with this one. I think the upcoming chapters are actually much better than the beginning chapters. I am not a good beginning of the book person. It's really hard for me. I usually don't kick in till around now, I guess. It starts to get really good at this point, but getting there takes a lot of work for me.
Well, I'm going to have to judge that because I think it's already started out amazingly, and it's going to be hard to beat what you've already done.
Thank you.
No pressure.
I don't know. I'm just having trouble. I think that the reason I'm having trouble, as Kate, you and I have discussed, off camera and off screen, that I'm just getting a lot of conflicting opinions on what I'm writing, and it's making it very confusing. Some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. Reviewers aren't agreeing with each other, so it's just a lot to handle. So I have my voice in my head. I have a bajillion other voices now in my head, and sometimes I know which ones I should listen to, and other times I really don't know because it's completely conflicting. And it's frustrating. Well, I know that we think that we should only listen to Kate.
Yes.
And I do.
And who? Because who solved your problem?
You did.
Thank you.
Yes. You are my target demographic for the Ghost Children book, so that is what makes you edge into I guess your opinion weighs a little bit more. But I had my husband read my chapters recently, and he agrees with some things that the critique group said. So now I have like 5 against 1.
How dare he?
I know, but then we talked about it.
I'm gonna have to call him. And
we talked about it some more, though, and I could see more of where he was coming from, and therefore where the critique group was coming from. And I did see where some things need to be either added in the beginning or moved around coming up to make more sense. So,
okay, we're going to have to offline this conversation because I need to know. Yes. I need to start my campaign. I need to get my notes in order. I need to have this debate scheduled.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm working on, I'm still querying Hoogly Ever After, but I'm still in the winding down process. I'm maybe only sending 3 new queries every 2 to 3 weeks. The full manuscript is still with 3 agents. To date, I've had either 12 or 13 requests. I've kind of lost count at this point. Obviously, I would still love a deal for this book, but I'm honestly not as focused on it anymore. I'm just really focused on monetizing and growing my blog and writing the Ghost Children book. I recently read this book called Slow Productivity, and it was really helpful in advising me how to schedule my times in terms of creativity. It reminded me that basically slow and steady wins the race. It reminded me to concentrate on quality output rather than quantity and speed, and I've made a plan of how to structure my days in terms of creative work for blogging and writing. And it's been really helpful so far and given me a lot of peace of mind in balancing work life versus creative life, so I don't feel so burnt out all of the time, which has been a big thing for me this year. trying to write. So I'm hopeful for better creative and writing time in the future and more exciting writing updates for the podcast.
Well, it's interesting. So I know that we were supposed to read the Slow Creativity book together, but I have not gotten mine from the library. But what I did get in from the library, which is one of the things I did want to talk about, is I got The Artist's Way, that famous, like how to build the creative well kind of book. And I
Morning
feel that
pages.
it's perfect. Yes, which I guess I was already kind of doing, but I'm going to modify it to fit more exactly on a creative perspective. But I got the book, and I feel that it's fitting perfectly for me right now.
Nice.
Because as I'm having a massive creative output, so CJ is sending out 2 chapters every 2 weeks. I'm sending out 5. And I met the first one, like, come on. The first deadline is really not a deadline. It's just when the chapters were here. And it's like, okay, here you go. I'm starting now. But, like, keeping to the second time I sent you pages, was like, okay. So the creative well is becoming a little stagnant. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciated the way that she started talking about how to access your creativity on a, like, less of a struggle and a pulling of teeth. Because she used to write, like, drunk. She starts the book talking about how, like, the only way she found she could be an artist was by, like, drinking copious amounts of alcohol, and then it was that very, think 1800s, you know, struggling artist, like, I have to suffer to make my art kind of idea.
Her and Hemingway, huh?
Exactly. And she had to change that way of life, because we all do. It's not healthy. No. And she was afraid of losing her art. And in doing that, she kind of, through many years, put together this whole process where she can now directly access, like, the art in her and write down like a conscious stream of thought into her art, and it comes easily. And so I'm really excited, because for me, the number one hardest part about being a writer is keeping the well full and ready when I have the time to write. Yeah. And it's not this whole thing. And so I just started the book. I did read about the morning pages. Okay. So I hear a lot about those from people. I also, they're called artist dates that I also read about in the book, and I'm kind of excited about this. Okay. And I might set up one for myself this week. Nice. Because there's so many other artist outlets that I want to focus on, and it's hard to find time, because especially when you're an artist, it's like, okay, and you work for yourself, you're like, okay, all my time has to go to making the money and making the content and making the stuff that I need to make. But it's also like, okay, there's a well of art in you. Yeah. And at some point that's going to empty. And with a lot of my background, it empties very quickly. So I'm hoping that this will help me, and I'm going to give updates along the way, because it's like 8 or 10 week process. Oh, wow. And that's if, okay, she said to spend an hour a day on this, like, on her homework. She gives you homework, and I'm like, bitch, I ain't got an hour a day. So what if I give you 20 minutes and we stretch each week out to more than a week? Yeah. If you really are, like, need this time. Okay. So, because I'm already, like, trying to do other mental health stuff and other anxiety challenges from Gabby and other fucking manifestation bullshit. And it's like, I don't have time for another homework project.
Somebody was telling me that they have heard of somebody who spends 2 hours a day meditating before they start writing. And on one hand, I'm like, fucking A, who has time for that shit? On the other hand, I could see how someone can get to that pretty easily, because by the time I have an hour that I try to do usually of, like, meditation and gratitude and mindfulness. And it usually takes about an hour. And most days I'm just struggling. That's like, I'm always ready to cut that out of my schedule to have more free time. I'm like, no, I need this. But if I were to add in a morning pages or something creative writing exercise, then yeah, I would easily go into 2 hours of just mindfulness crap.
Was this person like doing just 2 hours of meditation?
I don't know the details. It was either meditation or preparing, or so he had to do 2 hours of whatever it was before sitting down to write, to get in the right headspace.
I don't know. I feel like that's also a problem.
Yeah. It's a little excessive for me. I like doing a quick 15-minute meditation before I start writing, and then I'm good.
Yeah, I get the whole, like, we need time to prepare, because I do, I have to access the line of stream, okay? Mm-hmm. And Mondays are the worst, because you took 2 days off and it ain't there. But, no, don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this book goes. I have not started yet. I just read all the intro stuff to prep you to learn. So I will definitely be updating next month on all of that.
I'm excited to hear about it. I know a couple people who have done it, and they find it really inspiring, and they love it. Like, so many writers talk about this book as being a pivotal work for them in maintaining a creative lifestyle. From
Amy from Inspired to Write, so I got it from.
Oh, okay.
So, story time, everyone. Sit down, take a sip of your tea. It's story time.
Okay.
Kate has a story to tell. Okay, so I know that we've talked a lot about manifesting on here and the whole Gabby thing. We're no longer going to be a writing podcast. We're going to be a spiritual self-help podcast.
A happy dark podcast.
Because I also hinted at the story for CJ yesterday when I sent her this cryptic message of, oh my god, I just got whiplash from my driftwood.
And I was like, okay.
Okay, so if you've listened to our previous writers' updates at the beginning of the year when we talked about actually doing the manifesting challenge with Gabby, we talked about what driftwood was, which is essentially asking for signs from the universe, or essentially seeing others around you achieving greatness instead of viewing it as something negative, like, oh no, there's another person taking the space. You view it as driftwood. Well, I have been spending a lot of time thinking about how I want to proceed with my blog and how I want to proceed in the universe space of creating content and getting my name out there and becoming more well-known, trying to also offer assistance with developmental editing for people and just doing all this stuff. And I happen to have a really long conversation with my partner over the weekend about where do we want to proceed with the business stuff, where do we want to market stuff, where do we want to do everything. And we talked about trying to do more YouTube videos for my reviews instead of written ones, and yada, yada, yada. We tried to do all this stuff. And I kept telling him how I felt every time that I wanted to push past the point that I'm currently at, or to push through creatively, or to put myself out there, I felt like I was hitting a wall. Mm-hmm. Like there's just this wall blocking me from everything I want in my life, from even getting published, to finding success, to doing all this stuff. Sometimes I feel like I work my butt off, and I know so many of our listeners can relate to it, is I work my butt off, I work my ass off, and stuff won't get seen. I've been doing this for so long, and I haven't hit the numbers that I wanted to, just all of this stuff. And I kind of had this breakdown with him, and we had a lot of thoughts, and we talked. Well, that was over the weekend. Now come to yesterday. And I was doing my personal mental health time, my personal, therapy time to talk about trauma. And I specifically started journaling about this wall. Because clearly there's something metaphysically inside of me that's preventing this. And there's a whole different ideas that he and I discussed that go way woo-woo. Okay. So I'm not going to discuss them here and get very personal about some of my background. So I'm not going to discuss them here. But I was journaling about trying to really figure out what the wall was. And the thought that popped in my head is the wall the universe telling me I'm putting my energy into the wrong thing? Okay. Yeah. And I had this thought, I'm like, is it not actually me stopping myself, or is the universe being like, hey, whoa, you're not supposed to be doing this, you're going down the wrong path, everything's wrong. So I was journaling and I said, I guess I need to set time aside to ask my spirit guides if this is true, and to also ask for a sign, because that was one of the things in the manifesting challenge, was asking the universe for a sign. And it was funny, as I was closing my journaling book, this voice came into my head. And I have a very specific tone for this voice that I get sometimes that said, no, you need to make the video. Okay. So that was the first thing. Okay. So then a couple hours later, I decided to dip my toe back into Instagram, because I haven't been on social media in a while with, moving and everything. And, I know I need to start getting back on there, advertising for the podcast, doing all this stuff. And the very second thing I see on there is Amy from Inspired to Write, talking about how this is the month to promote your art. And you need to put everything out there, and it's going to be a vulnerable fucking hard process. And also, so much of your art is not going to be seen, but it's okay, and everyone is going to be there, and she supports and hugs and loves us.
That's a very nice message.
And I just kind of set everything down. I went, fuck, I didn't even have to set time to ask the universe for what I needed. It just came. And I felt like I got fucking whiplash from just the in your face, you need to shut the fuck up, bitch. We want you to go down this path.
And just do the work.
Just do it. And I thought it was funny. And kind of damn, okay, I got the memo. Okay. The wall is my fault. Okay, I get it. The wall is my fault. Okay? We'll work on it.
Well, that's good. So you feel like super motivated now?
No.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. The motivation is still not there. Today's trial is not helping.
Okay.
But we're going to try. But yeah, so that is... So I'm supposed to be an artist.
You are supposed to. You are an artist. Not supposed to be. You are an artist.
For our listeners, I'm giving her a heart hand.
Which I cannot do to save my life. It's just... People...
Oh,
little hearts came on the screen. No, I want to do it. But I can't because I
point your thumbs. There, you just did it.
I don't see it. It's on your screen. It's not on my screen. I don't see it.
Sorry.
I'm just making like a hamburger symbol or something. Oh.
Listeners, we do video so we can at least feel like we're talking to each other. And I gave heart hands and my screen gave hearts.
And I cannot do it. I remember when I was whenever I watch the Olympics, I watch gymnastics and I watch figure skating. And all of them, when they're waiting for the scores, they all put their hands up and like that heart thing. They just throw it up. Their hands are up automatically in the heart position. I'm like, this is why I could never be an Olympic athlete, because I cannot do that heart thing with my hands the way that they do it.
Bring your pinkies up.
Bring my pinkies up.
No, not like that. Okay. I will work on this off.
I also cannot do the Vulcan thing, the Star Trek. Yeah. You just bounce right into that. Look at that. Okay, I can't do that either.
And then there's which I struggle with, I can't do it on the end. The W.
I don't even know what she's doing. She's just wiggling her fingers around like a little weirdo. I don't even know what that was. But good for you and your skills.
Alrighty. Do you have any other updates?
Sadly, no. I do not.
All right, so I can just take over more of the podcast?
You can take over more of the podcast if you want.
Okay, so I do have a few more updates for everyone.
Okay.
So like I said, rewrites of Saving Goodbye have officially started. Woo! I have sent 2 chunks of 5 chapters to CJ, so I have 10 total. She's very confused, which is perfect because you're supposed to be confused at the beginning of the book. And now it's almost at 25,000 words. I think after what I wrote today, I have passed the 25,000 word mark, which is astronomical. Awesome. This is definitely a very long book for me, so be prepared. There's like 60 chapters.
Okay. But they're all relatively short, though.
Some of them.
Okay.
You got a couple of words.
Okay.
So that is happening. Writing is going. The schedule has been made. I am back to work. I have my office mostly set up.
Yay!
Bookshelves are up. So now I feel like we're really hunkering down and grounding into our new life. So that happened. In terms of querying. Okay. So now that I'm settled, I have started querying Praises one last time. This is probably my 3rd round of queries. So I kind of
sigh.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So I have reviewed agents that were previously closed. I did have one open up that I'm kind of obsessed with.
Oh, nice.
So I was very excited to see she opened up. I've not heard back from her yet. She is a person that says she likes to give all response to everyone.
Okay.
Which I appreciate. I love her. So I've been manifesting that she asks for a full request 100% because I really appreciate it. I will probably do this for, I don't know, another month or two of sending out queries. I know that we still have the 8-week window to always wait for feedback, but I don't know, give it another month or 2. And I think when this is done, if nothing comes out of it, I might be done with Praises at this point. Yeah. It's just hitting that wall. I'm scraping the agents, and it's not that I'm scraping for bad agents. I'm just scraping agents that match either my genre or agents that have books that are other authors that match who I am. I was just scraping for me, just matching of what I want. And one of the things is that, remember, listeners, agents are supposed to be, not say your friend, but your partner in all of this. They are your book partner. And yeah, we all just want to get published, and we all just want to find someone who will finally say yes to us. But you have to remember that you have to find someone that fits. You can't just say yes to anyone, which I know is hard, because what if you only get one person to say yes to you? You're going to say yes to them. But just remember, things could be greater than you ever thought. And have faith. I'm going to throw that F word around. Have faith that finally when someone says yes to you, it'll be the one that works for you.
I am so afraid that I will get somebody who comes to me and is like, oh, I want to offer you a deal and representation, and we'll talk, and the vibe will not be there, we'll not see eye to eye, it'll be awkward, and they'll for some reason still want to offer me representation, but I will just not be feeling it. I would be so incredibly conflicted. I just really hope that doesn't happen, because I don't know what I'll do.
I have heard the horror stories of people getting with an agent and then having to fire the agent.
Yeah.
And move on. And I'm just like, okay, I don't want that. So if it means I have to wait longer to have a perfect agent say yes to me, I think I prefer that.
But like, what if you get an agent?
I'll never say no. I'll never be able to say no to someone. I will never be the one to break up. And that's just horrible for me.
Like, what if you get an agent who comes to you and it's not an awful match? You know, right away you're not like, oh God, no, I can never work with this person. But they're just kind of meh. They're all right, you know? So it's not the worst it could be, but it's not the best it could be. But it's the only thing it could be at this moment in time. Do you go with it? Do you not go with it?
Are they getting my books sold?
That's a good point. Well, you have to sign with them before you even know that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, say they're meh, but is the meh still saying that they know the editors to get my book sold?
That's true. If they have the connections and they have clout and can back up with like recent sales and stuff, then
are we saying like meh as in personality and us connecting, or meh as in they suck as an agent?
No, meh as in personality and connecting. They're really good as an agent. They know how to get their shit done, but just on a more personal level, you don't connect with them, and you're not sure if they see all your vision.
See, that's what people I think really forget about finding an agent. Is it's not just about them like being the person to sell your book. They have to like your book, champion your book, and they also give edits a lot of times. They are the person. I don't want edits.
I mean, I don't want edits, but I know they're going to have to happen. Like, my ideal partnership is working with an agent who is a good editor and will work to make my book even better.
See, I just want the editor at the publishing house. I don't want my agent to have their hand too hard into my book. I just want them to say, I'm amazing, love me, be the person that's like talking in Sarah J. Maas's ear right now. Because everyone's just bowing to her and whatever she wants. Supposedly, she got rid of all of her critique partners because they didn't agree with her.
Ouch.
And ever since then, her books have just gone downhill.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just want the yes people, and then the editor at the publishing house can rip me apart. But I just want my agent to let me for me. I don't,
Okay.
But yeah, so listeners, remember, agent has to be your co-partner in this journey. So you don't just want anyone. And so either I get to pick, or the perfect agent first picks me.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of times, like, I pick agents whose relationship I see with the authors I love. And I see how, like, their book gets promoted. I get to see their back and forth. I read the acknowledgments. A lot of times I find agents from acknowledgments.
That's what I do, too.
My favorite person... So the agent I would die for, which I'm never going to get, because I think that she's not... Okay, I take that. Delete that thought. The agent I love, the only reason I don't think I will get her right now is because she's too busy and is not taking anyone on. But the person I love is actually V. Schwab's agent. I have met her in real life. And as a person, and the work she does, and the way she champions V. Schwab, and how she supports V. Schwab and holds her hand. Like, I'm like, I want you. This is who I want. But I also know you're not taking anyone on because V. Schwab keeps your hands busy.
Yeah. That's the thing with getting to know agents through their social media or videos or anything like that. You get to know them and you're like, oh, I could really see myself working with them. But a lot of the times they're doing really well as an agent on their own, which is how they got to be in a sphere where you can connect with them. And they're not taking on new clients. And it's just a bit of a bummer. So I try not to get too attached to any one agent. There's one or two that I really would love to work with based on what I've seen about them. But overall, I'm open to lots of different people, different personalities. I would love one that ideally has some interest in supernatural things, like does women's fiction, rom-coms, and supernatural. And I do see a lot of those because I would love to have one agent that would run the span of my career and all the different types of books I want to do. But I know that's also a little unlikely. I'd be happy to have one agent for rom-com and women's fiction and one agent for horror, you know?
And that's the hard thing, too, because, say, I know a lot of authors start out, say, with young adult, and then they want to make the jump to adult, and some agents won't make that jump with you. But I know some agents will. So kind of keep that a little bit in mind when you're querying. If it helps, like, you narrow your list down to something smaller, maybe see what wide range they represent. I mean, a lot of times they do a wide range, but I know that there are agents that just represent YA, period. Yeah. And there's agencies that will only do YA, so all the agents only do YA in that agency as well. But yeah, like there's another one, I want to say Jabberwocky or something like that, only does like sci-fi fantasy too, which is...
I've seen them, yeah.
I know. Grady Hendrix.
I have Query, I always forget which it is, Query Tracker, Query Manager, the one where you send out query, or you can track your query submissions.
Tracker.
That
you track with.
There you go. Okay, I have Query Tracker. I have the premium subscription, which is only like $25 per year, so it's not really that premium, but allows me to track several projects at once. So as I'm going through looking for agents for Hoogly Ever After, whenever I see an agent that also does supernatural horror and ghosts and magical realism and all that, I'll add them to my list for the Ghost Children book that I also have made an entry for in Query Tracker. So I'm building up that list as I go too.
No, that's great, because I'm not excited about making the packet for Saving Goodbye when it's ready. I'm not excited.
No one's excited about making that packet for anything. It's just awful.
And one of the questions I've been also thinking about now that I'm getting Saving Goodbye pretty into the weeds with is, am I going to send this out for beta again? Because I already did beta this, but now this book is so different.
I think you should if it's going to be that different.
So... where do I find them? Listeners! Anybody out there?
That's true.
You have to, like... Okay, so I CJ's gonna hate me for this. I don't fully write horror. This one, it gets darker. Don't worry. It just doesn't start out very horror.
Okay.
But it's like horror and sci-fi. It's very dark. And romance. This one has a very good romance line through it. You'll see. But yeah, so leave a comment.
If you want to be a beta reader.
Yeah, it will be a while from now, like a couple months. I want to get querying this book by the end of the summer.
Okay, that's a good goal.
When everyone comes back from break, I want to be like sending this out.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I can keep up with the 5 books every 2 weeks. Sorry, CJ, you're going to be dying. I know.
That's
you're
okay.
Doing me a big help.
That's okay. I'm happy to read. I'm moving slowly along with Ghost Children, so I'm good to read other chapters.
Yes, so... I think that's all my updates. We went on a tangent about agents, but, that's the whole point of logging in, is that hopefully we can teach people something as we're going through the trenches and learning ourselves, learning on the job.
Yeah, and sometimes there isn't a lot to update about. You're waiting to hear back from agents. It just happens, and you're waiting months and months and months.
Or you're like, I wrote again.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote again. More chapters are here. I don't know what I think about them, but there they are, and good for me. Yeah, sometimes it's not very glamorous.
Well, we're going through all these books about being an artist, and someday I keep teasing this. I want to do a whole podcast about the books that changed our lives, which I already have a bunch.
I don't have a bunch. I still don't have a bunch.
Maybe I'll solo a podcast. No, just kidding. Never want to do that. But, next month I will be updating everyone on Artist's Way.
Okay, so. I am excited to hear your update on that and see what your take is on this book.
Exactly. Well, friends, I just also want to remind you that the book club book for this month is Murder Road by Simone St. James.
Woo! You did it! You remembered her name. Good job.
I did, which I already got. And
I have not yet gotten it from the library. I'm waiting for it to come in.
It was quite funny trying to find this book in the new Barnes & Noble that just opened in town. So that was kind of funny.
Why?
Like, we're scanning the whole store for it. Well, because, sometimes they put it up in the, new release section at the very front of the store. And then they decided to put it under thriller instead of horror.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And what I remember the cover looking like was not how I described it to my partner. Well, how I described it is not what it actually looked like. So he was like, yeah. And then I'm just like, there it is. Why didn't you see it? It's red and black. And he's like... You said there was a car in the front. And I was like...
I thought there is a car on the front.
No, go look at it again. There is not. We both thought there was a car. There's not. Huh. I'll show it to you.
I too thought there was a car. I know. Look this up
I was like, it's red and black. And there's a car in the front. No. Nope, there's not. But anyway, so if you still need to get your book club book, don't forget that CJ and I are both affiliates with bookshop.org. By using our affiliate links below, you help us make a small percentage from the sale at no extra cost to you so that we can keep the lights on and the audio rolling and hopefully video in the future.
I am looking at the cover for Murder Road. That is, I feel like they changed it in the past 2 days. They must have changed it because that is not the cover I've been anticipating.
I bought my book a week ago.
God damn it. God damn it. What have I been thinking of? That's so crazy. It's like that. What is that syndrome? The Nelson Mandela effect or whatever? I feel like it's that.
I think it's the Mandela effect or something.
Yeah, I forget. Okay.
All right, friends. Well, thank you for listening to The Dark Side of the Word, a podcast for all the dark story lovers. If you're listening to us on YouTube, then please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're also a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart. Make sure to follow us and check out our weekly polls and questions if you're listening on Spotify. We'd also love a review. Leaving a review on our page is the equivalent of tipping your waiter. Thank you so much, friends. Bye.
Bye.